get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically new, neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah, let that sink in. Screenshot save, timeline's tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say elected, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crime O'Clock. Hello, unique peeps. How's everybody doing this Monday morning? I wrote in the chat, this Monday is already Mondaying. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I did. Didn't do too much. Got to hang out with Carlos yesterday, so that was nice. And I don't know, that's about it. Let me know in the chat how your weekend was, how you're doing today. Hello, William Tardy. Good to see you. Hey, Christina. Witchy was. Hello. Sure, Mike. How you doing? All right, everybody watching. Hello. So today we're just going to do a quick weekend update of I just have one little quick thing that I found that was interesting about David Burch, D4VD. Nothing really going on with the Nancy Guthrie case. Just lots of talking points that the case is going cold. So just do a quick little update with that. And my main focus today is talking about Brian Kohberger and this upcoming Hunter versus the United States Supreme Court case that the arguments are going to be heard Wednesday, I believe, the 3rd. And we will be able to listen to that live. So they're arguing it. I don't believe they make a decision immediately. I think the process is that the judges listen and then they go back and they write their opinions, right? They'll write a super long case opinion and I guess vote. So I'm going to go over the specifics of that case tomorrow. and the implications with Brian. But I started thinking about it this weekend and really dug into some stuff like yesterday and today. And I'm going to start with the Idaho leaks, that investigation. You guys know how this case is. You find one thing and then it leads you to another thing. And oh my God, it's like this big rabbit hole. I think there's a lot of issues in this case that when you're talking about a possible appeal, and that's what that Hunter versus the United States is going to ultimately be about. Like if you gave up your right to appeal through a plea deal, which this Hunter did, you know, is that violating your constitutional rights? And there's a lot of details about that. So, hey, Ro, good morning. Sluther75, good morning. Hope you guys are great. Something has changed with your sound. Volume is good, but sounds like you're 3 feet off the mic. I thought so too. Let me put my headphones on. I didn't touch anything. Who touched my board? Hello, hello. Is that better if I'm closer? It sounds good to me now. I look ridiculous with these headphones on. Let me know in the chat. How's my sound now? Is it too echoey? No, it does not sound good. I do. Is that better? Is that better? Testing, testing. Is everything plugged in? Always check the plugs. It sounds good through my headphones. Be my sound check guy, Mike. How is it now? It's nothing unbearable, but I had good sound. I had good sound, so what is going on? I didn't touch anything. It's the same. Let me see. I'm going to do something. Hold on, you guys.
How am I now? I don't think it selected my correct microphone. Sound check, 1, 2, 3. How is it now? Thank you. You have to go in every single time and make sure that you're selecting your correct microphone. So it was using my computer microphone. So annoying when it does that. So thanks, guys, for letting me do that. All right. So a lot of you guys were familiar with Scott Fisher, the investigator, and I had not. I was late to the party with him. So I went to his Twitter page. It's amazing. And he focuses on missing people. And man, this guy's invested. And he's been covering the David Burch case, D4VD, because Celeste Rivas Hernandez was a missing teenager. So he's been on the case. And I loved his passion about what he had to say about that case. So I just wanted to show that real quick. And I had it pulled up. Let me find it. It's pulled up somewhere. Nope, it's on here. Which one? This is it. Oh, let me share it. Let me share it. See, it's Monday. It's Monday. We get rusty from the weekend. It's Monday.
In another case, this is the case against the pop star David Anthony Burch, better known as David, spelled with a 4. Again, this is a massive story. We've been following it. It is huge online right now, ton of interest. The singer has been in the spotlight ever since the body of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was allegedly discovered in the trunk of this Tesla, or his Tesla. And the pair were supposedly in a relationship, although that wasn't confirmed by authorities. When police found Celeste's body in a Los Angeles tow yard in early September, talking about how far back this goes, initial reports indicated that her body wasn't just decomposed, that it had been dismembered. Today, we may have finally gotten confirmation of that disturbing detail, and also official confirmation.
All right, wait, I just want to hear this guy. Okay, here he is. Here's, just going to get right to this. It's Scott Fisher, right? Not Steve. Am I saying his first name right?
Story since it began. Steve, thanks so much for coming on.
Steve,
I
sorry.
first have to ask you, what led you to post all this today? And I'll be clear, you were quite vocal about your frustrations in this case.
Yeah, listen, these documents became available, and to be honest with you, it was the first confirmation that I got that she was actually dismembered. And that's something that, I couldn't find out. I really was hoping that that was not the case, and that just changed everything. I was vocal about it. I only do missing persons cases, and I'm really, really passionate about them, and especially about these victims that don't really have a voice and that are taken advantage of. And that is the case here with Celeste, who was 12 or 13 years old when this started. And it just, and I'm getting angry, to be honest with you. I don't like the way that things are moving forward, and the lack of transparency, but they're telling us that it's not a lack of transparency. It's just things need to change, and I think we need to get more vocal.
So I want to get into that, but now that this is in the court documents and is seemingly a confirmation, there was a conversation before, well, maybe she died accidentally. Let's say, there were some theories of drug overdose, people panicked, put her in the car, wasn't sure what to do with her. Now, if there's confirmation she was dismembered in such a brutal fashion, and that they are looking at a murder charge for him, intentional murder, what does that tell you? What is your theory of this case right now regarding what might have happened to Celeste?
Well, what happened was vicious, and this was not. And we were hoping it was like an overdose and a bad decision made by some people to figure out how to get rid of her body. But she was hacked apart. She wasn't surgically taken apart. She was brutally pulled apart. With instruments and tools.
I should have said trigger warning. This is disgusting. Sorry, sensitive information.
And put in 2 separate bags, and then thrown in a trunk of a car, and they went on with their lives for many months. And while she was there rotting, and it's infuriating. It is just sadistic. It is. Listen, this is rare. This happens in the world, and this is why we need this person off the street. There's no.
Well, why do you think there's a delay in charges and arrest? Do you think this is a weakness in the case, or are they just building their case for the grand jury?
Well, maybe they're building their case, but 6 months is a very long time. Like how, this isn't like we found remains in a desert and there was nothing to go on. We're starting from zero. This is a girl that was found in somebody's registered vehicle in a wealthy neighborhood with a lot of cameras, in a car that has cameras. And, certainly, listen, I deal with like search warrant returns on cell phones all the time. That stuff comes back in 2 or 3 days. So they have her phone activity. They might not have her phone, but they have all those, things that they can tie together, and it just can't be that hard of a case. But if
you mentioned the cadaver bag. Do you think that's tied to anybody?
Somebody bought it.
And they could track that.
Yeah, well, sure. And like, listen, we know that somebody ordered a burn cage, and it was delivered to the house in a different name, but that can be tracked. And I'm sure, how many private individuals are buying cadaver bags? Probably not that many. And, so I think there's things to go on, but I don't think it takes 6 months with top investigators.
So let me break this down. If you're talking about 2 bags, right, and what you know about the bags, You're also concerned by the fact that it looks like just David is the target, but you believe he might have had help here, right? Allegedly.
I love this guy because, like, he's not beating around the bush. He's like, look, I'm angry because, you know, he's an investigator. He's like, you have evidence. Like, it's a highly surveillanced, rich neighborhood. There were recording devices all over the place. I do think I saw him before because there was an investigator that came out and said that he knew who moved the car. Because I think the house that they were in had a video, and Teslas have video. So they know who moved the car. Someone bought a cadaver bag. Like, he's saying, how many private individuals order those? Like, you know who ordered it, easy to track the order. There's lots of things that, so what has taken 6 months? It's odd, at the least. It's odd.
Allegedly.
Yes, so it's all allegedly, but I mean, I don't see any way that this is done by one person. I just don't. And I also know that the car was moved by somebody other than David. I'm just certain that there was, you know, people that knew about it. Listen, that car was putting off a foul odor. There's even live streams where there's a makeup artist that mentions an odor in the house, like, and they make up this excuse for it. You know, people knew about it.
I did not know that. I bet you it was on a TikTok. Have any of you seen this? So someone who is a makeup artist in that, I'm assuming, neighborhood by the car before her body was discovered was on a live and was complaining about the smell. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. I would love to find that live. Just that's, and they, like, you know, when something weird like that happens, we try to, like, come up with reasonable excuses. That's what our brains do. We try to make sense of things.
This and everybody that knew about it needs to pay a price, as far as I'm concerned. But there's only one target in that, you know, in that paperwork, and that is David, and it's also only one charge. And
well,
you know,
I mean, murder's the top charge here, and they seem to suggest. I mean, they seem to suggest. I don't know what evidence what evidence do you think they have to suggest that he intentionally?
Isn't there a song, "Murder is the Charge," or something like that? A rap song, "Murder was the charge."
Only killed her.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is a murder. You know, malice aforethought.
Yeah.
It's so the highest level. You know, that means that this was intentional. This was not. You know, so I don't know what to have. That I guess that's my whole thing. I don't know, but I know that in order for them to be saying that, they got to have something. So if they've got
intentional, they know it was intentional. So a lot of people were speculating with Celeste that, oh, maybe she OD'd and they're just trying to cover up the body and that it happened. They're like, no, there is other evidence that this was more planned out and an intentional murder.
On it, what are we doing? And if you don't have it yet, why can't we start with something? Because there's a lot of other crimes that can be charged here, but this needs to be put in motion. You know, there was evidence left behind that wasn't taken. I don't know why. There's 4 terabytes of surveillance from a house directly across the street that was not obtained. You know
what? He said there was evidence, I'm assuming, in the car, in the house, that was not taken by police. Ladder in the Idaho 4 case. I'm sorry, you guys, that ladder drives me insane. And at Nancy Guthrie's house, that front mat, that's right next to Nancy Guthrie's bloodstains, right in the area where we see a perpetrator on video and they don't take the mat. Like there could have been a shoe print on there. There could have been soil or something from his shoe print on that mat, fibers from clothing, something like that. So in the D4VD case, it looks like same kind of issues are going on. So he said Evidence not collected. I wonder if they didn't take the equipment, like that burn cage and it was some kind of cutting machine. I'll just say that. But they were still in the box. I wonder if they didn't take them because of that. I don't know. I'm just speculating. He also said they didn't get all the neighborhood surveillance footage. Like what?
There's missteps here, okay? And it's been a long time. This girl needs justice, and I'm just gonna start calling it out. You know, like
what about David's family? Why would the prosecutor want them to testify? For what purpose? And I also have to imagine whether or not they would plead the fifth, you know, right against self-incrimination if they wouldn't want to testify against their family member. But
all right. So I just loved his take on that. And this is another case. I didn't know this until now, where we can
bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
We're going to side eye it. We're side eyeing these cases, things that don't make sense. So just another case that I'm following, and loved his take on it. And I didn't know the issues. I didn't know that there was evidence not taken. So we will keep our eye on that one. All right, now to Nancy Guthrie real quick, and then we'll get into Idaho 4, the leaks, the Dateline leak and things like that. So let me see what I wanted to show you first. Okay, yeah. I know that we heard there was discussion around Nancy Guthrie where there was that Adult Protective Services card found on the door, and I liked this guy's take on it. He was pretty definitive about it. So you want to show this? Oh, it's still Steve. So I like his take on things. So he spoke about that. So I thought that was interesting. The Adult Protective Services. Oh, so it's not a video. He wrote this. Okay, so he's on Twitter. So he put this tweet out, and it says, yesterday, and when did he do this? Let me find the date. It's probably older. I know. February 18th. So this is older, but that's when that information came out about that Adult Protective Services card. Yesterday, the Pima County Sheriff told multiple media outlets that the card left by an Adult Protective Services investigator was placed on Nancy Guthrie's door on February 1st, the day she was reported missing. This is coming from the sheriff. According to the sheriff, the investigator was allowed to walk through a crime scene that included blood evidence on the ground and possible DNA evidence on the door where the abductor reportedly made contact. In order to leave a business card, it was bigger than like a standard business card, I think, because a concerned neighbor called the department on a Sunday, even though law enforcement was on the scene. Okay. So Sunday, February 1st, Nancy was discovered missing. Police are already on the scene, and a neighbor calls Adult Protective Services, and they show up on the scene. I've never heard it described this way before, so I thought this was interesting. And then Steve says, if this is accurate, this would represent a serious failure in crime scene preservation. And we know that, like, I've hardly seen any photos of it like roped off. I don't know. It would also raise questions about protocol and training, particularly since APS investigators are not law enforcement personnel. So they were just allowed to go on up to the door. And this is coming from the sheriff. So then Steve says, I have contacted the head of Arizona Department of Economic Security to ask about the APS protocols regarding entry into active crime scenes. Good for him. And to make them aware of the sheriff's public statement. And then he said he was going to share a response if he gets one. I'll have to look later for that. Now he says, I feel the sheriff is mistaken. However, if the statement is accurate, it represents a significant. So he doesn't believe the sheriff. So the sheriff said they came up through the crime scene, and Steve is saying, no, I don't think that's true. I don't know. Is he maybe just giving APS an out? So he's clarifying here. He probably got a lot of questions. To be clear, I do not believe an APS investigator left a card on the right side of the door where they would have had to walk through and over the blood without smudging the blood with a footprint. I believe that card was there before she went missing. Okay, we have all talked about that too. But then that's suspicious. Like, why? Why would that be there unless they're just delivering it out to all elderly people? So we are either being lied to by the sheriff, or if it's true, then what a complete failure to preserve a crime scene and poor training by APS that an investigator enters an active crime scene. Jeesh. In my opinion, there have been several statements that have come out from the sheriff's department in the Nancy Guthrie case that have been walked back and changed. So it's hard to know what exactly is true. And that was only 2 press conferences the very first week. We are at day 20. Let's see, 28 was, so we're at day 29, and we still don't know, and pieces just keep coming out through the media. So Brian Etten said one of his people watched the woman drop the card there. So then it would have been after we knew about the crime. So then that looks like what the sheriff said is true. Interesting. All right, one more quick update about Nancy from over the weekend. I have it in here. Not there. One second. I gotta find it. My playlist is giving me issues again. Sorry. Oh, because I went to Idaho. Okay. We're not listening to Judge yet. We are not going to listen to CMZ. I don't think you guys can hear it if I don't share it. Nancy Guthrie. Okay, Brian Etten talked to this guy on 2 days ago, Saturday. So this is from Saturday. I know it's not sharing it. Hold on.
Put out a new statement. I'm going to read it to you, and I'm trying to kind of read between the lines here of what they mean by some of this. But they say this remains an active investigation and will continue until Nancy Guthrie is located or all leads have been exhausted. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is refocusing resources. That's what.
Okay. So this is Saturday. Remember, Brian Etten is saying that the sheriff said this is going to remain an active investigation, but then they're going to allocate their resources also somewhere else. So probably keeping like a skeleton crew investigating. But I also think I heard or saw recently that the FBI is making it seem like I guess they're doing the same, limiting, but that the leads are going cold. So I just cannot believe that.
I thought was interesting. They said refocusing resources to detectives specifically assigned to this case. As leads are developed and resolved, resource allocation may fluctuate. PCSD will maintain a patrol presence in the Guthrie neighborhood. So when they say refocusing resources, it's my understanding that pretty much every detective has been working this case in the past. And I think now they are just going to assign certain detectives to work the case so others can go back to working other cases in Pima County, which has been a complaint I've heard from some people that, other crimes aren't getting the attention that they need right now here because Pima County has everyone working the Nancy Guthrie case. So it sounds like they are going to move things around a little bit, especially since in many ways there just haven't been any good leads that we know of lately. FBI has moved a lot of their people back to Phoenix, which is about 2 hours away. That's obviously where their, like headquarters is for this area. So that kind of makes sense, but they are emphasizing that they're also keeping agents on the ground here in Tucson still.
Okay. So most of the FBI went back to their home base. I hope you can't hear that. Garbage trucks going by. But they're keeping a ground crew there in Pima County.
On TikTok, I mentioned this last night. There was something kind of weird that happened that we learned more about outside Nancy Guthrie's house late last night. There was this car that kept driving by over and over and over again. And we saw it for just over and over.
Skip that was Saturday. All right. This guy, I'm just going to listen to a little bit of it. His opinion is this was a burglary gone bad, but I don't know. I just want to hear a little bit of his thoughts.
Former colleagues here in Pima County. So thank you for taking the time. First of all, you worked for the sheriff's office here for almost 3 decades, right?
Yeah, I was there for 29 years from 1995 to 2024, and I retired as the K-9 unit supervisor.
Okay. So this guy worked at the Pima County Sheriff's Department, so he has some good insight, and he's going to give his opinions on what he saw them actually do in the investigation and like what he thinks they could have done better or should have done. A couple key things.
Wow. Okay, cool. Were you on SWAT too?
Yeah, I was on SWAT for 10 years. I was in K-9 for 12 years, 6 as a deputy.
Let me take a minute. There's been lots of people that have hopped in here. I want to say hello to Meg, Megastar. Hey there. Skull Mackay. Hello. Quit changing your name. Dago with True Crime Cafe with Dago. Hello. Blue Devil. Good to see you. Pretty much Finland. Hello. Karmic Retribution, another great creator. You guys go check out her channel. Someone wants to drop the link, please drop it. Jessie Lynn, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for all the mods for being here. Appreciate you guys. And let me see. I don't want to miss anybody, but I think I got it. If I missed you, I am sorry. Say hello to everybody.
And then 6 as the K-9 unit supervisor working a dual purpose dog. And I also supervised the search and rescue unit for a couple of years.
Okay, awesome. Well, you're the perfect guy for me to talk to today. First thing I want to ask you about this new surveillance video. It's from 2.5 miles away from Nancy's. You see a car go by. And the timing is what's interesting to me because Nancy's pacemaker disconnected at 2:28 a.m. The car goes by at 2:36, which is about the same amount of time it would take to drive from Nancy's by this camera.
Sure.
And it's also the same route that some of the locals told me they would take if they were trying to get away without being spotted because it doesn't go on any of the main roads. What do you make of it?
Well, I wouldn't put too much value in it. I think there is value in it. Like, let's be realistic. But based on the abduction itself, like that, I think that would just take some time on scene. So the time difference just seems to be a little bit too compressed, but I do think it's of value because maybe it's not Nancy in that car, but maybe it's someone associated with the crime itself in that vehicle. So just because the vehicle goes by doesn't necessarily mean that Nancy was in it, but that vehicle could absolutely 100% be associated with the crime itself.
Could have been an accomplice. I mean, I was thinking about that because it was 2:36 at night. There was new footage that came out that a neighbor 2.5 miles, we talked about this on Friday, 2.5 miles away from her house. They caught it on their Ring doorbell camera, and they also had a camera more out front in their driveway. White vehicle. I think they said it was a Kia Soul. He's going to talk about that the police don't think he just said they don't think it's connected. But yeah, it could have been accomplice. And I was thinking like, okay, it was a Saturday night. So, people tend to stay out later. Everybody in that neighborhood is not just elderly. I'm sure there's people that have teenagers and young adults that are coming home late at night. So could just be that.
And then from there, you can extrapolate further and start looking at LPRs and surveillance videos, other Ring camera footages. I know there's technology where you kind of try to dissect the make and model of the vehicle, but the video itself has to be pretty good. And they do that like with positioning of headlights, the shape of the headlights, the style of the vehicle, is the boxy, is the curve. So I think they can probably get some evidence from it. Where it leads, like that remains to be seen.
And when you say LPR, license plate readers, are there a lot of those around this area?
Well, no. Well, there is in Metro Tucson. So Pima County, like the sheriff's department, basically works on the outside, on the skirts of the city. But Pima County itself, in that area, it's pretty urban. So there are license plate readers out there. Like you're not going to see it like to the level of.
See, that's interesting. Like, I don't know where I live, and I assume in most places you have your state, you have a county, and then you have a city, right? And your county has a sheriff's department that takes care of the whole county. And then you have, and like our sheriff's department, to me, they're like more of the detectives, the detective work. And then we have a city police department. So, I mean, they just keep saying Pima County. Does anybody know the actual name of the city that she's in? Is it Pima City? They should, like, we haven't heard about their law enforcement, have we? Pima City LE? I don't know.
Of Phoenix or some of the bigger cities in the country. But there are, unfortunately, there's probably not as much as we would like.
Are you surprised? Because it was a reporter who found that video.
Oh, duh, Tucson. I knew that. Where's the Tucson? So TPD, Tucson Police Department, TPD. Have we seen that? TPD. Where are they? I knew that. Duh. I need a duh sound effect.
Are you surprised? I mean, there's just been hundreds of law enforcement here between the FBI and Pima. Are you surprised that they didn't track it down first?
Well, let me say this.
He's checking his words.
I just find it troubling that this video has existed, and with the amount of attention this incident has created, you would think that the neighbors would have just been scouring through their Ring camera footage. And like, how long have you actually been sitting on this? How long was the person who provided the video? How long did they look,
We talked about this Saturday night on the verdict room and this new footage that came out, because it was 2.5 miles outside or away from Nancy's house. And the sheriff's department originally asked for all neighbors within 2 miles to please check your doorbell cameras and all your surveillance cameras. So Logan at Bronx Tales, another good channel, go check her out. She made the point that, you know, it's not the neighbor's fault. Like, and I wasn't blaming the neighbors. We shouldn't be blaming the neighbors, but the police department, the sheriff's department, I should say, they should have just like put it out to the whole county, right? The whole city of Tucson. Everybody check your cameras on this night. You never know where they drove by, or maybe you catch this white Kia Soul close to, you know, in Nancy's vicinity, and then you catch it, you know, 3 miles out, and then 5 miles out, and then 10 miles. I mean, you know, you can track it that way, like they think they did with Brian Koberger. I always got to get that in there.
Like wait to tell law enforcement, or how long did it take for them to actually review?
All right, enough about the neighbor's camera. He starts talking about the dog search.
Everyone's part, and I think that's to be expected. The investigation hasn't gone, I don't say according to plan, but according to the way you see it on Dateline or 48 Hours or on 2020, where, you know, at the end of an hour and a half episode, you know, they've already processed the scene, they've interviewed people, they've tracked suspect downs, they've got an interview on tape, a confession, and all of a sudden it ends with someone in custody. Like, that's not reality. But I do think that it is frustrating that it's taken this long. But
you know what? Let's think about that. That's a good point, William. And I think we talked about that Saturday too. Not everybody watches the news. Not everybody knows what's going on in that area. So, but we also keep saying we're in 2026. We have so much technology. We get Amber Alerts on our phones. It is so funny, you guys. I was in a public place in another city, and like at this event, and an Amber Alert went off, and you could hear everybody's phone, like everybody's phone in the whole entire place, like went off with this Amber Alert. It was pretty cool, actually. So we use that for like child abduction, mostly for that, I believe, because of a law, right? Why can't we have notifications to our phones in that same way for, like, I would love it for like weather alerts, crimes like this, like, hey, the local sheriff's looking for your video footage from, you know, these dates. Yeah, I watch YouTube news too. I watch my local news for the weather, right? For weather forecasts.
There are some things that are just outside of their control. Now, like, where does that frustration stem from? I think part of it is the investigation itself, maybe how it was handled immediately, not having clear defined roles as to, you know, who is taking on what responsibility, a clear unified incident command system. And listen, you can.
So, you know, we're not the only ones questioning that. I've heard lots of experts talking about that, like just the investigation to begin with. And I hate, like, you know, a new crime happens and we start following it, and I'm waiting for one where it's just like cut and dry, right? A crime happens, the police do like the most outstanding police investigation that there ever was, and the criminal is caught. Maybe those aren't catching our attention. Is that why? But I don't know. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be with Nancy Guthrie when we first started covering it, and here we are. Like, it just always, we watch and we witness, and then we question.
Have all those things in place, but perception is reality. You could have a unified incident command system in place in theory or on paper, but not be working in a unified manner. So what I think you're seeing is the projection of frustration of maybe how the investigation was handled. And honestly,
yeah, you think? You think? I'm speeding.
Is that what you're saying?
Let me see.
Turn off and get your.
We don't. I'm gonna go after that.
Of who takes the lead, the sheriff's department still has to play an active role in it.
The ego thing is interesting because I don't know if that's just something that
Talked about the ego
throughout the year, which is like the national standard, and it doesn't mean that if the Pima Regional SWAT team did a hostage rescue, that they wouldn't be effective. I would expect them to be effective. I was part of the team. I know there are great guys on that team. I would expect nothing less. But being put off to the side to let
Okay, this was the part I wanted to hear. So he's talking about that they didn't let the search and rescue team go in and do what they should have been able to
And
do.
it seems like in the beginning, maybe
Why? Why would you not do that? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Why would, if you have a competent, well-trained search and rescue team that this guy I think was a part of, why don't you let them go in and do what they can do?
they had everyone thrown at the case, and now they're just going to have specific detectives that work it. Is that kind of the way you read it?
Oh yeah, there's no reading between the lines there. I mean, the feds pulled most of their resources back to Phoenix, and I think what you're seeing is the sheriff's department is following suit. Listen, just because resources are being scaled back doesn't mean that the investigation doesn't continue forward. Like, they're still working it, but at this point, like, where is the value in having all your resources put into one case when they're really, like, when you've already exhausted, all your leads, like, evidence is only taken you so far. Like, there's not much value in having all your resources in that one bucket. At some point, you got to say, all right, how many people do we need to actively and effectively continue working this case? And if that's 5 or 6 detectives, great. The rest, honestly, at some point, they've got to go and work on their other cases. Like,
Hey, look at that. 5 more green peeps. Let's see who got those. Karmic Retribution. Yay, welcome in. Scorpius. Looney Tick. That's a cute name. Lisa. Gardina Nola. All right. I think I'm missing some, but let me look. Hey, senor. Good to see you. No Nightbot to go after you today, senor. Hey, Italian girl. Good morning. All right, let's do this. Even though I gave out those free, where is it at? I gave out those free memberships to 5 new people. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the support. Thank you.
I love that little peep guy. Oh, Dago got one too. Oh, you know what? When it's someone who's a mod, it doesn't show me in the back studio thing. So awesome. Thanks for letting me know that. Yay. All right. One more thing from this guy. Get to it, dude.
if I were king for the day and the FBI said, hey, we would like to take this off your hands, I would say, have at it, man. Like honestly, like go ahead. And it's not a thing about, it's not an I don't think here. It's a, like, there are some cases that just require more attention and more resources that you can adequately throw at it. So there are times where it's okay to take the lead role and have feds play secondary. And it's also okay to kind of flip flop that and let the feds take the lead if that's what you feel is best for the investigation. Ultimately, decisions that are made have to be made in the best interest of the investigation. What gives us the best opportunity to resolve this case? If it's us being the lead and FBI supporting us, cool. If it's giving it to the FBI, then you have to let you have to set your ego aside and let that happen, but still be actively involved in a case because there's an expectation that you provide a service to that community. And it's just not a simple handoff and we're clean and we're done with it and we don't care anymore. Like, regardless of who takes the lead, the sheriff's department still has to play an active role in it.
The ego thing is interesting because I don't know if that's just something that people within law enforcement would be talking about. Because I'm just thinking, let's say the sheriff day 2 or 3 said, you know what? FBI is taking the lead on this. They've got the resources. They've got the technology. I would think people would look up to that. I mean, no one's going to say, God, that's a terrible sheriff who doesn't want to. I would be thinking, yeah, let the FBI do it. You know, he's doing the
Sure.
right thing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You got to think about the psychological effect too.
All right. We don't care about psychological effect. Let the FBI do their work.
Because deferring it to another team means you're not in some.
I think this is it.
But that's a natural reaction. Like it's the same as so for example, I was on SWAT in K9, did a ton of missions, and I know FBI HRT was in town, right? Well, as the Pima Regional SWAT team, like you want to be the team that does the rescue. Like you want to, like that is what you train for. That is it. That is the pinnacle of what you would do on SWAT is a hostage rescue. And not to say that giving it to FBI HRT would be wrong, because they are exceptional at what they do. I expected them to do that, and I don't see anything wrong with them coming in and taking over for hostage-specific scenarios. However, internally, as a team member, you want to be that guy. You want to be that person, because deferring it to another team means you're not, in some way, it feels like you're not capable enough to do it. And the difference between your regular municipal, we haven't seen it. I haven't been on scene. And again, all I can do is evaluate based on what I've seen on TV. What I've seen is I've seen waves of searching. So let me tell you, like,
this is the last point I want.
Hindsight is 20/20, right? Like I can go back and be like, hey, you should have done this, you should have done that. But we knew probably very early on that this was an abduction for ransom, or honestly, in my opinion, more than likely a burglary gone wrong, right? And I could talk about that later on. But when you start searching, it becomes difficult, because you have to approach it methodically. If like you're either all in on searching the area or you're not. It's not a toe in the water thing.
Yeah, and that's the point. This is the clip that I wanted to show, and then I'm gonna stop there. Like, we know it didn't look like they did a grid search, and he said the searching seemed to go in waves, right? So he's going to explain, because he was part of that team, that exact team, like how it should have went.
So if you're going to search one, you need an aerial search, like which I know they were up there, and be it with our fixed wing or a helicopter, and maybe other resources like with DPS Ranger. I'm not sure if they were involved or not, but we have the resources to do an aerial search. Now with searching with dogs, okay, so I know Boar Star was out there. So the sheriff's department has dual purpose dogs. So that all that means is that they're narcotics certified and patrol certified, which means they're certified to search, locate, and apprehend people. But we don't have any tracking dogs that do scent identification. So I know that there was an issue with maybe I think a Boar Star agent leaving a piece of clothing on the side of the road. So that's scent identification, where like, it's like what you would see. Like, hey, the dog sniffs it. They identify to that specific odor. And then there are dogs, human odor on the ground. And then there are like cadaver dogs that are specifically searching for bodies. So in this case, the sheriff's department isn't equipped to actually search with the patrol dogs, because the patrol dogs, all they're doing is searching for human odor, any human odor. And with as much foot traffic as there was.
Oh my gosh. So I'm not sure yet, because we know dogs went out there, but I don't know whose dogs went out there. I don't know if he said it yet or not. If I missed it, let me know. But he's saying that if it was the sheriff's dogs, they just search for any human odor. So not just Nancy's. Nothing new on Nancy. Hi, Beach Babe. Nope, no major updates.
Like it's an unreasonable ask to have a patrol dog just search for human odor, because they're going to pick up the person in the yard next door.
Right.
They're going to pick up all the reporters who are on the side of the road. Like it would be a very difficult search area. Now, one thing looking back, what I think could have been done better is our department has a top-notch search and rescue unit. It is one of the best, if not the best, in the state of Arizona. Operationally, they're typically at number 1 or number 2 in the country, doing about 225 search and rescue missions a year. Okay, when we're searching for a missing hiker, okay, so we get a missing hiker up in Mount Lemon. We go up there that night. Their car is up there. No one's heard from them, and we think they've been they're lost on trail. Okay, cool. We start doing searching on an operational period. And what we will do is we will literally take that trail and we will blow it up when I say blow it up, I'm talking about 5x5 maps. And we'll start doing something called segmenting. And we'll segment specific areas and segment it so that we can search those areas. And then we allocate resources to those areas. And then we do searching based on critical spacing so that a searcher can see another searcher, so that we know what's in between us and nothing gets missed. So looking back.
That's interesting. Like, I think we know that, right? We've seen that enough that they set up these grid patterns and that's how they do their search. But that wasn't done. Like, that wasn't done. And they had resources out there that could have done that. You know, when Nancy doesn't turn up after a few days and, they're not hearing from the ransom people anymore, and the odds of her being found alive are diminishing and diminishing. Don't you start searching, or even from day one, just start searching. There's mountain areas around there. If you saw JLR yesterday, he was up at Mount Lemon that this guy was just talking about. There's a lake there. Like, you can drive up pretty close to the lake part. And then there's a trail where you have to walk, but they took a drone up there. And when I saw that lake, I'm like, why aren't they sending the divers out there to go look? Like, just to clear it, just to clear it, say, no, she's not here. Just insane.
I think there was a really good opportunity here to get search and rescue involved in that way. However, when search and rescue does that, they're running the search and rescue mission. This turned into an abduction, and we don't think she's here. So I think what happened was like, okay, well, we're searching. Okay, let's search today and see if we can find some evidence. Okay, I'm not comfortable with that search, so let's go and search for this. Or we got a tip, let's go search again. I think if we would have brought search and rescue in and let search and rescue loose and let them do what they do, and they could have coordinated at least the search portion of it, be it for Nancy, which we know was probably not going to be anywhere remotely in that area, or anything of evidentiary value. They could have used their skill set, segmented that neighborhood, either 2 or 3 mile radius, and then segmented, and then we could have started allocating resources and then defining specific search areas, so we don't have to go back and wonder, man, did we miss something? Did we actually search this area? Did we actually go down this wash? Because then you start to wonder. Listen, I've searched that area hundreds of times. I've looked for burglary suspects there a bunch of times.
This area where I am, right outside Nancy's.
Yeah, that area. Listen, these areas that are in the foothills, they're notorious for burglary. So a couple things. One, this is a rare occurrence in the sense that burglaries are crimes of opportunity, right? Burglars don't want confrontation. They want to go in, they want to get what they want, and they want to get out, and they want to go undetected. Most of them have probably already been arrested for burglary in the past or other criminal offenses. And if they
So that's interesting. I'm going to stop there. So he's going to go on to explain, I don't know, he's saying that like burglars, they want to go in, they want to get what they got, they don't want confrontation. But then Nancy's abducted. So to me, that kind of rules out that it was a burglary, intended burglary. He thinks burglary gone bad. I don't know. What do you think? There's a waterfall up there on Mount Lemon. Oh, wow. Mr. Steal Your Tupperware. I love that name. Do you get sent home with leftovers in that Tupperware? Hey, Senor, I know I said hello. That Senor is another fabulous creator. He's working on some light bulb camera footage. Go check him out, please. Drop his link in here, please. All right. So to segue from the Nancy Guthrie update into Idaho 4, I'm going to go back to Steve Fisher one more time because I have a feel-good story for you. I loved this so much. I wish that there was a time in my life, not my life, as a parent, where I wish I would have had a person who cared this much to help a family. So I called this the sunflower story. So Steve Fisher, SF Investigates, he said, a few months ago, I was involved in a case of a 14-year-old missing female. I'll call her HC. After 30 plus days, and you can think about Celeste in the D4VD case. Think about her maybe if someone would have cared this much. After 30 plus days, and as the FBI was getting involved, I found her and the adult that was harboring her. There was a large police presence, and when he got to the LASD station, she turned to me and said, "Who the F are you?" So she was hostile. She was not a fan of me. So he rescued her basically, and she's mad at him. She was facing some internal demons and was going down a very destructive path. I left right after for recurrent training at the police academy in Fresno, but I heard she was being sent to a lockdown facility in Reno. After about a week in Fresno, I remember very clearly being live on some show with another investigator and Layla Santinello's father and stepmother. Some of you might be familiar with Layla Santinello. During the show, I got a text saying HC had jumped out of a car on the way to the airport and was on the run again. The next day, I raced back to LA and started searching for her. I worked very closely with her aunt, Mia. I was also working with the FBI this time. About 2 weeks later, I was doing surveillance, and Mia happened to be with me. We spotted HC with some others and tailed them to a mall. I called the LASD headquarters and 5 or 6 units arrived. The deputies told me they were not going to put hands on her or chase her if she ran, but I could approach her and they would back me up if anything went south. I went into the store and stepped in front of HC and told her to look over my shoulder and see all the deputies and her aunt. She recognized me from the last time. She broke down and started crying. The deputies called their crisis team, but otherwise kept their distance. I took HC outside and we sat by a fountain with her aunt and talked for 3 hours. Just looking at what you guys were saying real quick. She explained what she was going through and how she wasn't being heard and feared going to the lockdown facility. I told her if she would agree to a 72-hour hold, I would fight on her behalf to find a non-lockdown facility, but I needed 72 hours to make it happen. She agreed. 72 hours turned into 10 days. But Mia and myself worked nonstop, and we finally got her placed at a facility called Newport Academy, which specializes in teens. All right, I'm just going to take a pause here because I've been through this with a child that needed extensive help, like beyond just like, going in for talk therapy, talk counseling, things like that. So, and I know other people that are in this situation right now. And here's an expert, okay, Steve Fisher, and he's saying, oh, I need 72 hours to find you a facility. So probably a, behavior, like mental health behavior, long-term facility. Okay. Same kind of thing that myself and others that I know have looked for and are looking for. And to get into them is nearly impossible. It's a long story for many reasons. Basically, either you have to be on Medicare or you have to be extremely independently wealthy. So for him, like I know when he says, oh, I thought it would take 72 hours and then now it turned into 10 days, 10 days. He probably had to get it court ordered. These are my guesses because I know this system. And court ordered, the state has to take over custody, and then the Child Protective Services have to be the one that put that child into that long-term facility. And then the one he's naming, I would bet you $1 million. It's privately funded, probably doesn't take health insurance. A lot of them don't even take health insurance. So just to give you some background, and that is a passion of mine. It's frustrating and my heart goes out to you if you have had to deal with that. But kudos to Steve for finding a young person who, desperately needed this help. And he worked the system and got her a place. Like I would be curious, man, I'd love to get in touch with him and talk about just that part of it. Getting help for someone like that in need. That would be interesting. Mike, hint, hint, Mike. Okay, so 72 hours turned into 10 days, and he gets her into this Newport Academy, which specializes in teens. I made her promise me that if she felt like she was going to run from the facility, she would first call me to talk about it. She called me 6 or 7 times over 2 months. And she stayed each time. 6 or 7 times she wanted to run away from that place, and she called him. That is so amazing. Mia and I would go visit her regularly. While she was in Newport Academy, I was at Mia's. While she was in Newport Academy, I was at Mia's once and noticed this beautiful sunflower in Mia's garden. Mia's the aunt. Mia cut it down and gave it to me with a note that said, I give a sunflower because I got my sunflower back. Aw, her niece. And I cherished that and shared the story with HC during a visit. A decision was made that once she graduated from Newport Academy, HC would go live. She would go live with family in Montana to escape some of her triggers in Southern California. Yesterday, after 47 days, she completed Newport Academy, and Mia and I met HC and her dad and her brother at a restaurant on her way to the airport from the academy. I wanted to see her to tell her how proud I was of her. When I got to the restaurant, HC gave me a painting she made for me while she was at Newport Academy, a painting of the sunflower. Oh, this is great. She thanked me for finding her and helping her and not giving up on her. Mia made me a beaded sunflower to go with it. Yesterday was one of the best days I have ever had. And there's a picture of that. So a happy story. A happy story. I love that. Not everybody gets that opportunity, right? So got to share the good stories when we find them. Mike's picking up when I'm laying down. Okay, you guys. So with the Idaho 4, my brain has been all over the place, like thinking about the Supreme Court case that's coming up Wednesday. So I'm going to give you the backstory to that tomorrow. We're going to go over that completely tomorrow. But basically, the decision, when that comes down, it's going to impact, it could possibly impact how appeals are granted after a plea deal. So people who accept a plea deal and then they give up their rights to appeals. There were some issues with the way it was done in the Hunter case. And so they're going to present that to the Supreme Court, and they're claiming that denying completely someone's appeals violates like constitutional rights. And they need to clarify things because judges, even though you give up your appeals, they'll say you're giving up your right to appeal, but then the judge will turn around and say, but you can turn in a request for an appeal in writing. Like they'll still say that. So I think that's the confusion between the two. So that needs to all be clarified. That's starting Wednesday. So then that got me thinking about all the issues. We're all wondering, like, can Bryan Kohberger still do a type of appeal? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert in this. It's very, I've heard lawyers explain it and it's complicated. It seems complicated. I think there's several different paths that can be taken, different levels of the court that can be appealed to. So tomorrow I'm going to get into more of that expert stuff, but I started thinking about just this investigation that's going on right now about the leak, the Dateline episode that aired that had video footage that was going to be used as evidence. It had cell phone images and mostly images, I think, from Bryan Kohberger's phone that was probably going to be used as evidence. So that was put out to the public. And then the issue is that it creates prejudice, right? So now the defendant has prejudice against him because you're putting out this information that is making potential jurors be biased, right? Against my client. So let's talk about the leaks for a minute. That leak, and then there's supposed to be an investigation, right? So Judge Hippler says we have to have an investigation into this leak. And wasn't that back in like July? Let me know in the chat if you know exactly. July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. We're on month 8 of an investigation. And someone in one of these clips we're going to watch is going to make it seem like how it shouldn't be that complicated. I don't think it shouldn't be that complicated. Let me look at your comments real quick. William Tardy, had they catch BK in 6 weeks and they haven't caught the leak yet. That's a great point. That's a sneaky leaker. Sneaky leaker. Diego, I'm going to send you a link if you want to come up and talk about this with me. Oh my goodness. The phrase for today, sneaky leaker. Oh my goodness. I'm in the wrong thing. Where's it at? No, this is it. Okay. There you go. Okay. What else are you guys saying? Who's that? The Holly Berry UK. Hello. Hemisphere. Hello. You felt that the prosecution. Yeah. There's a couple people that are going to come straight out and say who they think the leak is. Not like by name, but like, where. Phenomenon, Bubbly's saying Brian is no longer listed in Latah County Jail. Ooh, that's some tea. That's some tea. Where wasn't there talk that he was possibly going to get moved though? Did you let me know in the chat? Wasn't there talk that Brian was going to be moved, like for safety or something like that? Oh, Dago, we do get a notification now. Oh, it says your device not connected. No, not again. So maybe that was a true rumor that he just got moved. He was saying someone got a call, no one called back, and he was with the people that got the call. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Let me go on and show this. I'm waiting for Dago to come on if he wants. I think he's having technical issues, which is okay. I think he knows how to figure that out. All right. Of course, we are going to start with this one. There it is. Where are you at?
Isn't that what
Yes.
the judge said?
Yes, he said they were going to assign us, and he was going to come after that person, whoever did it, with vigor.
Yeah,
And
Hitler has been a huge disappointment. I mean, he has been a massive disappointment. And we've been saying all we want to know is where it's at, because we're not being contacted, and we know who your leaks are. We've heard some of them.
Uh-oh. What do you guys think about that? The G's. Oh, there he is. Hey,
Hello.
you made it. I saw you there.
Sorry,
Then I was
I
like,
muted.
uh-oh.
Damn camera is not working with me. Sorry.
That's okay. Want to buy a Hex hat, Tony Stevenson?
There we
Yep.
go. Sorry about
Dago's joining me. That's a funny comment.
that. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great. How are you doing?
I am fantastic.
Good. So we're going to talk about the Dateline leaks and what's going on with that. It's been 8 months. We're going on 8 months, I believe, since they said started an investigation. And did you see was it Senor? Someone put a comment, maybe it was William Tardy, that they can catch Brian in 6 weeks, but we can't catch the leaker in 8 months.
Right. And somebody said something about Brian. Brian was moved to Ada County Jail, I thought, a long time ago, wasn't he?
I don't know where he. Well, Latah was the small count. Yeah, that was the original one, right?
Yeah, he went from Latah to Ada to prison.
He's in prison.
He's in prison. So yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to show up in the county jails anymore.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so that was an old thing. Sneaky leakers. That's our phrase today.
Sneaky leakers.
But I'm showing this clip, of course, the G family with Brian Etten, and Steve just said, "We know who your leaks are."
Who is it, G, Mr. Steve?
Yeah. So let's finish this. It's just a short, so it's super short.
We were aware of some of these facts before they became public, so we could probably clear some of the stuff up, and they don't even want to talk to us because they're scared of what we've discovered and who would get fired if we actually put that on record. And they tell us.
What?
Interesting.
What?
That's interesting that they're bringing that up, because we're going to be talking about that on my side today too.
Oh, good.
Stop emailing us because you're making records.
Do they
That's
just
how you
want
know.
this all to end? Is that they just want to have this in the rearview mirror? I mean, what?
I don't know.
Yeah, they keep telling us, stop emailing us. You're making records. They literally told our lawyer.
What do they mean by that? Why can't there be records?
That I don't know.
Well, if you raise these things up in court like we did, we raised this up and said, hey, there's a leak from the prosecutor. They're like, you're making records. Stop doing it.
Why is that a problem? You're making record.
Oh, because things are in writing. Yeah. And then that will have to be explained. Like, think about that. What if Steve is emailing the prosecutor's office and saying, hey, why did you tell Bob Smith, or why did you send Bob Smith this video footage or something like that? Now and that gets entered into court, then they would have to answer for that.
Right. And it sounds like what Steve is saying in some senses is, like I said, we're going to be talking about today, misconduct on the prosecution side of things, guys. That's kind of, imagine that.
Yeah.
I'd like to truly know if he's just talking or if he really does know some things from the prosecution side of this case that he could put out there and cause problems with.
We always do have to be careful when we're listening to the family members because
right.
They get emotional. People tell them things that they're assuming are true that might not be true. So yeah, we do always have to, look at what they're saying with a lens, but they are out here speaking publicly saying it. So take that for what it's worth. And also everything that we say on here or, talking about what we're hearing in these videos is speculation, allegedly, these are allegations. They're not facts.
Yeah. Everything we speak about that does not come out of a document, folks, is purely alleged and absolute speculation based, a speculative theory. That's all it is.
Yeah. So I know everybody has your own opinions about what they say, but they're saying it. So I wanted to hear it.
And I'm like, listen, you got to understand the people you're dealing with. I'm not going to be okay with these side deals that are going on. I don't know what's going on, but all I know.
Side deals?
Hmm.
What do you think he means by that? So he's talking about the leaks. He's talking about, I know who did it or who you're talking to about it. He's talking about the prosecution and he's tired of side deals. Sounds like maybe
side deals, huh?
And it's interesting because then we're going to listen to Keith Morrison and he puts all the blame on that one guy. I can't remember his name, but
Josh Hurwitz.
No, I think it's a reporter or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I know the name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah. But
I can't think of his name either. My God.
Yeah. Side deals could be monetary deals, but they could also just be like,
agreement.
An agreement. I will give you this, but you got to keep everything hidden, like my identity. It just could be stuff like that. Like, who knows? But
makes you wonder how many NDAs were signed for this.
Yeah.
Truly. I'm just saying, I know that sounds a little bit out there, you guys, but not really,
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I know is I'm getting to the truth. 100%. We're going to get to the truth. I don't care who gets in trouble. And that hasn't made it a very popular narrative. So now they're just like, stop emailing us, stop making records, just leave us alone. This is inappropriate.
They said they can't deny or confirm whether there's an investigation going on or not. We're not privy to that information.
Not privy. Wait, they can't confirm if there has to be an investigation going on, right?
There's supposed to be.
Exactly. Unless they just ignore it. I mean, they do.
Well, that's what I expected, but I've seen no results coming from any form of any investigation of any sort whatsoever. So who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting. What did he say that made me think of? Hold on, let me see.
Was that from the prosecution?
No, that was from the judge's clerk, the judge's assistant.
His assistant literally basically said, you guys don't
No,
have the right
didn't
to know.
basically.
So
Weren't they
that
going to
was
have a
the-
special prosecutor?
Okay, so wait, let me hear this again. It made me think of something, then I forgot about it.
So now they're just like, stop emailing us, stop making records, just leave us alone. This is inappropriate.
They said they can't deny.
Oh, here's my question. Why would this family care if there were leaks that showed Brian in a bad light? I thought they've always thought he's the one, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would be the defense that
Well,
cares.
Makes you wonder if that means that we know I've never understood these two. Okay. I think I watched SRB say the same thing I'm getting ready to say. They don't trust nor believe in Bill Thompson, the prosecutor's office, Latah County, Moscow, any of it. Okay. But they still support the fact that they prosecuted this guy the way they did and haven't said a word about it. So it makes no damn sense to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Now I forgot what the hell I was going to say.
Well, let's think about this for a minute. You guys in chat, think about this. Why would SG here care about the leaks? Because all the leaks were bad towards Brian. Is it because he was upset because it could mess up the case? Like it could have messed up because he always wanted to go to trial.
Yeah.
I don't know what date this was. Probably doesn't say it on here. I don't know how to find that.
So
Weren't they going to have a special prosecutor?
I don't know the date on this, but does it say description? February 2nd, 2026. So that's when it's posted.
It might have been reposted, I think.
Yeah, that's when it's posted, but
because that's a TikTok, right?
Looks like it. It's Facebook Reel, a TikTok, a short, a YouTube short, something like that.
Right.
It's just interesting. Maybe it's just because they wanted the integrity of the investigation and everything. Nothing to screw up anything that's going to like hold Brian accountable. That's my opinion.
I think Steve realizes that they haven't gotten the full truth. I think Steve also, maybe this is new, who knows? I think Steve also believes now at this point that Brian wasn't the only person to be there. If Brian was there at all, this is their thought, of course. You know, I don't believe he was at all, but that's not me. That's them. I think they believe he was there, but he definitely didn't do it by himself. And I think they know that. And I think that's kind of along the lines of what this kind of leads to.
Okay. Thank you, William Tardy. Thank you, because that's the thought that I had this morning. That's why this whole train of thought is connecting towards possible appeals, right? And Dago, this is going to go with what you're talking about today. Like if it comes back that it's found out that leak came from the prosecutor's office, then can that be prosecutorial misconduct and then be used in an appeal process?
I would imagine it could be. It should overturn everything if there was prosecutorial misconduct found to be.
Okay, so that's one. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. It's just kind of like identifying all these possible like mishaps or issues in the case that could lead to that. Yeah. Steve said Koberger was seen outside watching. Yeah, I know. I know there's things that have been said that, aren't proven. I know to be cautious. Hey, Lucy. I know there's a lot of things that we suspect, but it's got to be like documented and proven, right? Gotta be documented and proven.
Yeah. I agree with her on that statement for sure that fully believe there was. But again, we don't have documented proof as of yet. Although one of these days coming up soon, I'm hoping we will.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking into today, for those of
Hold
you
on
that
one
may
second.
be in, I'm sorry,
Okay, I had to pause that. Sorry.
is previous stuff that the prosecution may have been misconduct. How do I say this? May have had misconduct with in the past that would lead to show how things like this could pop out, guys. So that's going to be
Ooh.
a very interesting point. So if they could do things in the past, why wouldn't they do it now? Bill Thompson, Kim, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Bill Thompson was the prosecutor for 30 plus years. And from what we've all come to find out, the man took all of the cases he covered, which was quite a few, to court twice. That should tell you guys something. The man doesn't want to go to court. He has no idea, in my opinion, how to handle that kind of a situation and comfortably win. So that's why he got the nickname Plea Deal Bill. Okay.
Exactly. Right.
Just think about that. Sorry, Kim, I didn't mean to kind of go to the side, but
No, I get you. It's all connected. It's all
Yeah.
connected. And we're kind of like, you and I are talking about the same thing, but coming at it from two different angles. So
different angles. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
Yep. So yeah, Lucy, when so I started with this leak thing, and I've got one more thing to show about that. And then it took me to the supplemental requests for discovery and like the issues that came out along the way with all of that. So, and there's lots of mini issues within the big issue. So
Yeah.
it's layered, in my opinion, complicated. It looks like more than one thing. So we're just going to work through that.
Many, many little things will lead to one big problem. Yes.
Yes, it's very confusing. Like I was, just going from one thing to the next, and then I'm like, okay, like slow down and focus. Like we've got time. We can
There's a
do
lot.
other
Yeah.
other things other days. All right, I already opened it. Where did it go? Right here. All right.
Brian Koberger in the allegation that he murdered 4 Idaho University students is under fire this morning. What happened? Well, if you hadn't noticed, that NBC Dateline had some serious information regarding the background in the case, including some video surveillance from a home in the area on the morning of the homicides. Now, the prosecutor that said he might put a special investigator in charge of doing this investigation, which is huge, but they also zoned in on the prosecution and current and former law enforcement. And that is absolutely a travesty if that's the case. So I guess there's going to be
I wonder who he means they. They zoned in.
That's a good question. Sorry, I wasn't muted.
They zoned in on former and current law enforcement officers. And that's when I was going from one thing to another, that is something that came up. So there is, oh gosh, what do you call it? Where an officer has been previously charged for misconduct.
Brady.
The Brady violation. Right. So, to me, this guy's like hinting at, there's already people involved in the case that have had issues. And, that came up. Brady violations came up in this case. I think they were denied, right?
Well, yeah, we learned, if I remember right, we had learned early on about, I think it was Officer Tolson with the ISP that had been brought up on Brady Giglio stuff from a previous case, that they basically did the same type of thing, and they accused that doctor of, I can't think of his name, you guys, I'm sorry. But this is just one, okay? That's the one I know for sure that we've seen and looked into. I can't remember his name, the doctor's name. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. The one from up, I cannot.
It's missing me completely today.
Someone in chat will know. The doctor, the chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
The chiropractor case.
Yes, that was absolutely 100% fact. Okay.
Drake.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you, Lucy. That came out, and this man was working on the Idaho 4 case. Why? If you
Right.
have these types of violations, like, why is this man allowed? Here's my opinion. I'll just say this real quick and then I'll shut up because I know you have stuff to say. If a police officer does something in this sort and is found to be guilty of that, doing that, in my opinion, you're immediately moved by. You're done. You go away. You don't get to do this anymore. That's just how that should work. Dr. Moore. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's a problem. They just allow, oh, here's a little, and go back to work. No, if you make that mistake once, and I don't believe it's a mistake. It's something that is done on purpose, in my opinion, to get what you want out of a situation. So
Yeah, it's the
that's
same
my opinion.
thing in education. We call it the turkey trot. They
Right,
if an
right.
educator gets in trouble, as long as they still keep their license, they'll just move them somewhere else. And I don't know how police officers work if they don't lose their whatever their credentials
Commission.
are.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just
They should lose their police commission. If you do something like that and you get caught, then and it's proven, that commission should be yanked from you. Just as much as a malpractice suit with a doctor, okay? If a doctor does something during a surgery and it causes you to lose your life or something like that, it's the same way, in my opinion. It's bullshit. It's
Yep.
absolute bullshit. So Officer Tolston with ISP is the one that I know for a fact has been found to be guilty on that aspect. So I'll just say that.
I know. And I was speculating about pain because just speculating, just my thoughts, because it led me to like Lucy was saying about the supplemental requests for discovery. Like the Brady was all about like discovery because they're not turning over the information that they should have been turning over. Okay. But they kept referencing Exhibit A.
Yeah.
That's the affidavit. That's the PCA.
Right.
Whose name is on the PCA?
As
Payne.
in, Officer Payne. Yeah.
So if they're talking about that, and then they're talking about an officer with former issues or violations, I was just like, I'm trying to like make that connection. So that's the gist of some of the things I'm going to show today. So we'll see if we see the same connection that I do or not. I don't know.
Absolutely.
All right, let me finish his thought.
A following of the electronic breadcrumbs from any of those people into some of the NBC Dateline phone numbers, producers, assistant of the electronic breadcrumbs.
Hold on. This shouldn't take 8 months to be able to do what this guy's saying right here.
No.
What are you doing? Right there.
Allegation that he murdered 4 Idaho University students is under fire this morning. What happened? Well, if you hadn't noticed, that NBC Dateline had some serious information regarding the background in the case, including some video surveillance from a home in the area on the morning of the homicides. Now, the prosecutor that said he might put a special investigator in charge of doing this investigation, which is huge, but they also zoned in on the prosecution and current and former law enforcement. And that is absolutely a travesty if that's the case. So I guess there's going to be a following of the electronic breadcrumbs from any of those people into some of the NBC Dateline phone numbers, producers, assistant producers, and what have you. It shouldn't be that difficult to find. And when they do, there might be criminal charges. Musk.
Oh, I think that would do it if there was criminal charges about that. That's why the Gonsalveses would be so concerned. Now I get it. And I don't think it would be that hard to trace the electronic unless they were smart enough and didn't do it electronically.
Well,
Were they meeting in parking garages like Deep Throat? Remember?
Yeah, right. Right. It could have been a text message, a phone call. That's still electronic, but
Yeah. No, you would
either.
have to meet in person. You would have to meet in person.
Yep.
Hand over things physically. I mean, it could have been done that way.
It absolutely could have been. And I truly believe that Ashley herself was probably involved right along with Bill. That's why I blew up when I did. When yeah, I believe that too, that it happened very early on. I believe, or I'm sorry, when I blew up during the hearing, when Hitler said to him, I'm tasking you, to Mr. Thompson, with the with finding a special prosecutor to investigate this leak. Are you serious? That's like, in my opinion, catching somebody coming out of a house they just broke into, stealing a VCR, because I'm old, and taking the VCR from him and then handing it back to him and saying, here, take and watch this movie on the VCR you just stole. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's exactly what it reads to me. It's ridiculous.
Yep. You can't investigate yourself. It should be an outside, and it shouldn't be up to, if you know the leak or you're suspecting the leak came from this, the prosecution department or law enforcement, like there, you don't put the prosecutor's department or law enforcement in charge of the investigation. Don't put anybody involved in charge of the investigation.
You got to go outside. Yeah.
It should have been a court order, like the judge. Maybe the prosecutor's office has to draw up the paperwork or something, but the judge could have ordered, you will hire an independent investigator instead of leaving it. It sounds like it was, I would like you to do this.
Well, something like that, in my opinion, you need to go outside, or either go outside the circle of the local prosecutor's office, or you need to go up a level or something. I don't know. But that should have never happened.
Exactly.
Never. Especially considering that right before that, Kim, they handed them documents, both sides, prosecution and defense, and basically told the prosecution, we know that this came from you. We know it came from your side of the fence here. And told the defense, you need to watch your P's and Q's and keep your head on a swivel, because, there's things going on here that you need to be careful of.
Wait, who did that?
Judge Hitler. Those 2 documents that were sent out to them about this leak, it accused, if you read it right, it accused the prosecution of it, and it basically told the defense to be very careful what they do and pay attention. They were not accused of it. The prosecution was in the document, period.
There's came directly from documents about the leak?
Yes, there absolutely is. There absolutely is.
Are you looking at those today?
I could pull that up. Yes. 100%.
Yeah. If you don't get to it, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I could definitely pull that up. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Sure. All right. So you see where we're going with this, right? Like leaks, misconduct, Brady violations, prosecutorial, possible alleged misconduct by important offices there that could lead to a possible appeal. So, not that. Oh, I lost my playlist again. Hold on, I'm getting it. So I wanted to hear, so this came from the Dateline episode, right? I believe Dateline even took the whole episode down, right? You can't even find it anymore, can you? Did anybody save it? I'd have to go back and look. Like, we still have a DVR where you can like record things, and that's usually a show that I never went back and looked. I wasn't like impressed by the whole thing at the time, because I'm like, they're just putting out false information, like don't pay attention. But okay. Right here. So let's hear right from the person, Keith Morrison, famous for Dateline, right? That voice and that white hair. He's going to talk about this leak because someone's in trouble. And listen to him closely, because he just throws somebody completely under the bus.
The show tonight, Keith, what can we expect with Dateline?
Well, this is your friend Shane Bishop and I, but mostly Shane, has been working on this for a long time, since right back at the beginning, and has developed, Shane has a list of people who are on the inside and who are very good sources about what's happened here in Idaho. So we're familiar with a good deal of the evidence that the state will bring against Brian Koberger. His attorney is not speaking yet, but we have, a lot of this material that the prosecution will rely on, I think, to try and.
So talk about telling on yourself right there. Okay. Have they brought in Shane Bishop? So questions here. And this is why I wanted to start with Steve Gonsalves, because he's saying we've been calling the prosecutor's office. We're asking them, is there an investigation? They won't tell him yes or no. So it was up to Bill Thompson to hire a external private investigation into this leak. We don't know. As far as I know, let me know if I'm wrong, if that has been done yet. Is there confirmation that has been started yet? Who is that person? Have they spoke to this Shane Bishop, because he's publicly being named right here as the, source collector or the information collector.
Yeah, and he's bragged about some of this stuff, you guys. This is the producer from Dateline.
And he said, Keith Morrison just said, the defense hasn't talked. We're getting everything that the prosecution is intending to use. So he's pretty much exonerating the defense at this point. I think it's pretty safe to say, you have the source right here, the host of Dateline, saying everything we got is what the prosecution was going to use. I don't know. Not too smart to go out publicly and talk about that.
No,
go ahead.
That was just a dumb move, period.
But isn't it interesting that these people who, look at everybody we're looking at. A lot of them are older, significantly older, been in their careers for 30 probably plus years. And there's multiple cases where this happens. I just think they get comfortable. They've had a power position for a long time. They're used to doing things the way that they've been doing them, and it never caught up to them. That's what I think. Like a power trip.
Right.
I don't know. We can't say that we have it all, but we have a lot of it. And we can almost have a timeline of his movements and the movements of the killer, whether it was him or not, in the days, hours, minutes leading up to the murder and afterwards.
You also have a couple of interviews from people that we haven't heard from before.
We have. I mean, we've heard from some of the people who met Brian Koberger early on, as soon as he moved to Pullman, Washington. And he went to a pool party, for example, and there was an incident at the pool party which was just kind of strange and unsettling for the people who were there. He worried a couple of the women who were by the pool wearing bikinis, and he was just a little leering. I think they tried to brush him off, and one of them tried to.
Okay, so all of this, he's just going to talk about all the stuff that they have put out to the public, to everybody that watches Dateline, with this narrative and the defense. I'm going to show a clip from a court hearing, and then I'll probably end with that they are saying that is prejudicial. You can't do that, right? And then remember when the defense did the survey. So maybe this all led to them doing that survey when they thought they were going to have trial, when they thought there was going to be a hearing, and they were getting ready for jury selection. They're like, okay, let's go out and see how many people have heard all these talking points that have been put out to the public. And then the prosecution put up a stink about that because they wanted, in my opinion, they want people to be tainted. They want people to be prejudiced and biased, right?
Agree. Yes.
Crazy.
That
Yeah.
was the whole
so-
point. Sorry.
Say that again.
I was just saying, I think that was one of their main points, was for people to be biased and prejudicial, and that's the whole propaganda thing I talk about all the time. This is all part of this. Jury, this was absolute 100%. If you think about the timeline, I just said this the other day, excuse me. This was absolute jury tainting. We were like right out of the gate from going to trial on this, okay? And then this drops. Bing, bang, boom. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that built up to this point beforehand, this happened, okay? And in turn, that was it. Once this all happened, and Lucy did make a statement about what she's talking about with her video there. It all played into the whole thing, guys. It all played together, and this is where the plea comes from, okay? And they were done. That's all they had to do.
Yeah,
And
it was a lot of.
It's a bunch of bullshit, Kim. Sorry, but it is.
No, I agree with you. It seemed like a multifaceted attack to force the plea deal. There was many aspects, and this getting the narrative and out to the public, I think was a big part of it. Lucy said she has a video out about the leak. So please make sure you go over to Lucy Morningstar's channel and check that out. Awesome.
Yeah. And it's a good video. It does make sense.
I'm not going to show this whole thing. I'm going to skip through some of the points.
The murders just before.
I think all I wanted to hear.
That's where the car is not visible.
Him ratting out the other guy.
That gives them the opportunity to whittle down who the person would be that they're looking for, and it succeeds. The suggestion was that he is OCD also.
Yeah. Right. All right, Keith. Tonight, Dateline. You can watch it. It starts at 9:00.
All right. So I basically wanted to show that he flat out said, ask this guy, this Shane Bishop guy, he's the one that did the investigating. He's the one that, has the source. So not Keith Morrison. All right. Let me see if I can find this right hearing that I have. Okay. It is
if nothing else, there's absolute, at least, at the very least, proof that there were wrongdoings in the prosecutorial and judicial side to this case. And we have a man that took a plea deal based on coercion and being forced into a plea for whatever reasons you want to look at it for.
Generally,
which shouldn't have been accepted by the judge. None of it, because of these things. Okay. You're in the midst of an investigation into a leak and you took a plea deal. Think about that for a minute. No, it doesn't. And nobody questioned it. They just said, okay, whatever.
Hi, Amy Conway. Good to see you. Hi, John. John's in green today, you guys. Hi, Ann Dale. Hello, hello. I saw a bunch of other people coming in.
I see a whole bunch of
new peeps.
New peeps.
Beep, beep.
If it Becky, hello.
I love saying her name.
If I miss saying hello to everybody, Crud Dog, hi. Jen, hello. If I missed anybody, I am sorry. It just means I wasn't looking at chat at that moment.
Thank you guys all for supporting Miss Kim.
Say that again.
I said, thank you to you all for supporting Miss Kim.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, this is the January 26th, 2024 hearing. Is it showing up? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Just going to move
We
my.
can't see very
picture.
well.
Wait, is that the right date? Was John Judge still the judge then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Farther
Just
back
down to
in
here.
the courtroom. So just so you're aware of that.
Make me smaller.
Can't stand looking at her
Hold
face.
on that is the potential.
He's going to say what they're meeting about. I'm going to watch this.
On that is the potential for permission for appeal for interlocutory order. So, and a state.
Okay. Permission for appeal for interlocutory order. And I know I'm using Harsh's video. I've had this saved from way back in January 2024. So I just pulled it out of my playlist. So that's why that looks that way. Now, I looked up. Where did I put it? Did I do it on my phone? No, I put a link.
Just looking at her face. Doesn't she look guilty just looking at her face?
I know. She does have.
Truly. Lord.
I looked up what an interlocutory order was. Is this it? No, that's the other thing. Not that. Okay, here it is. Okay, permission for an. I'll show you guys. It's just what AI Google says. So, no deep dive. I just did a quick, what is this? Permission for an interlocutory appeal allows a party to appeal a non-final court order before the case concludes. So think about how many times Ann Taylor and the defense team asked for something and were denied. Like their Frank's hearing was denied. I think their request
Everything.
Everything's been denied.
I mean, there was a couple times that he made it sound good. I'll give you this, but I'm not going to give you that.
Yeah.
I'll let you do this, but you can't do that. So the whole time he was playing a game with it. So yeah.
Right. So that's what this clip is about. And that's such a mouthful, interlocutory appeal. I think that blew right over me. The first time I heard it, right over my head, not paying attention. But since we've had all this time and now we're looking at all this, I think this might be telling. So that's a two-step process. You must first move the trial court to certify the order and then petition the appellate court for permission to appeal. So they have the judge has to approve it. See, that's where everything dead ends, because you're asking the judge that sometimes you're complaining about to approve you complaining about him. Dago, I want to go complain about you. Will you sign this paper so I can go complain about you?
Absolutely. Sure thing. No problem.
I mean, oh my gosh. Denied. Yeah. Yes.
He knew. He knew the whole time what he was doing, in my opinion. So.
Yep.
Very sad.
Okay. All right. So you got to get those permissions. And then the criteria for certification. The order must involve a controlling question of law, substantial grounds for difference of opinion, and immediate appeal must materially advance the ultimate termination of the case. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Substantial grounds for difference of opinion. Immediate appeal. Okay. Something I need to think through. The petitions for permission must often be filed within a short window, such as 14 to 21 days after the order is entered. So whatever the defense asked for, they should have done this immediately. Huh. Here's some examples. If there was an order denying injunctions, if there was an order involving significant constitutional rights, I'm going to get into that. Rulings that, if not immediately reviewed, would cause irreparable harm or loss of a substantial right. So, things to think about. Things to think about. All right, back to this.
And a stay of proceeding in the case. I think that's all the preliminary. Is Ms. Taylor?
Mr. Logston will be arguing, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay, so Lucy's right. Like, this was like they were talking like dismiss the case, right? So because listen to what they're going to argue. Like, the issues were that bad. And that's why I keep saying Exhibit A, Exhibit A, Exhibit A.
Yeah, and he knew, this judge knew. What date is this again, Kim?
January 23rd, 24. Let me look, something like that. What does it say? January 26th.
Okay,
January
so
26th, 24.
if you remember, I've referred back to this hearing a million times now with him, Judge, where she's talking to him about things going on within the case in the background, how hard it is for this to be done, and how much bullshit, basically, without saying it. Okay. And she was like, I don't think you understand, this, and this, all this stuff. I mean, she didn't say it outright what was going on, but she was hinting to the fact. He looked directly at her and said, no, Miss Taylor, I do know. I absolutely do. And I feel for you. He knew. He knew then that there was the bullshittery, to be nice about it. It's not what I was going to say, but anyway, was going on in the background the whole time, which makes me wonder truly if that's why this guy was happy to get away from this case, and agreed to the whole thing. But just saying.
Yeah. So so Logsden's going to argue it. So I want to, and it's all about the discovery, right? Like, I think it might've been earlier. Yeah. I'm not watching this whole entire hearing. I'm just showing this part of it. They said, like, this is January 26th of 2024. They still don't have all the discovery.
Right.
So this goes to not turning things over, not turning everything over, turning over things that are missing. Like, we know the video was missing audio and, all of that kind of stuff. So that's what all of this is about, I think.
Mr. Logston.
I'm going to, I guess, be succinct since we argued almost the very same thing this morning. But in essence, what we're asking the court to do is to give us the court's blessing to take up the issue to the Idaho Supreme Court. I think the court has noted that it's certainly an interesting issue. The Idaho Supreme Court does have a rule that essentially lays out that this is to be done in very rare circumstances, important issues where people may disagree and that may make it more orderly in a particular case. Our argument is that for this case to exist, the indictment needs to be valid. If there's something wrong with the indictment, that's something that certainly should be addressed. We're also concerned about the fact that there is case law that says that if this case goes to trial, issues with the indictment may become essentially mooted by that and would never be answered. And there's relatively little in the way of case law in Idaho in the last 20, 30, 40 years. And so without permission to appeal, we may never get an answer on this. And certainly.
Okay. They're saying there's an issue with the indictment. That's what this all goes to. And it's ironic because I remember back in the day when we were all talking about the DNA and the IgG process and all the failures of what we perceived and saw during the investigation, we would always say fruit of the poisonous tree, right? If you go 10 steps out in the investigation, but your mistake was at step 1, the PCA, but you're 10 steps out and you're like, but we've got this DNA that matches this perpetrator. Well, yeah, but that's coming
Right.
off of 10 steps out of something that you made a big mistake on or something like that. We're getting to it, Lucy. We're getting into it.
That's very important to Mr. Koberger, because whether or not there's a valid indictment in this case is going to decide whether or not he sits here and whether or not a trial should occur, et cetera.
Thank you,
One of the major issues is whether or not that's going to have an issue with the timeliness of this case. And my understanding is that's going to be the next argument that comes after this one. And so we believe if a trial is set out as far as we think it ought to be, that an appeal at this point won't disturb where we think a trial should occur in any case. And in any matter, this isn't our attempt to achieve some delay. This is our attempt to make sure that our client is getting due process at every step in this case, and that nothing is being left, no stone left unturned. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Langston. Mr. Nye? Thank you, Your Honor. I want to start with the rule that was just referenced.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there because this was denied, right?
I do believe, yes, ma'am.
So if Judge came back and said, no, you can't take this to, which I don't understand. I don't understand that process. Why, if with the person making the decision that the decision is basically about, why can't it go to somebody else? Why do you need permission to do that? Why can't you just send an appeal up to a higher court? I don't understand why you need permission. So anyways,
that's never made sense.
Yeah. So it's denied. And think about this with the appeals and with the decision that's coming. Someone said tomorrow, but I thought it's Wednesday. Isn't it the 3rd? Isn't that Supreme Court Hunter hearing on the 3rd?
I think it is the 3rd, yes.
Yeah, let me know in chat. So that's right? Is today today's the 1st, right? Today's the 2nd. It is tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, I'm days off, you guys. Days off. So it's 30 days for Nancy Guthrie. 30 days. Logsdon just got up there and said we think the indictment is not legit, and so they're going to have reasons for that, which probably are also appeal items by themselves, possibly.
I agree.
Timeliness of the case, how they've dragged it out.
The fact that there was discovery still being handed over after the plea deal dropped. Okay.
Right.
Was it 24, 25? I can't remember the number at the point there were, but like they were getting that then, guys. That's come on. We all know that's wrong.
Weren't they up to like 28 requests for discovery or something? Like, what was the final number? Like, that's crazy.
I thought it was 25, and they didn't get 24 until like, and again, I know somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that he had already taken the plea deal, and that's when they received 24, I believe.
Lucy mentioned supplemental request 24 earlier, so that's probably it. Okay, so that's another
an insanely high number.
Yeah. That
At this
goes
point.
after the time. Yeah, the timeline. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying at that point in the case, like, really? 24, 25 requests for discovery, and you don't even receive them. The man's in a plea deal hearing, and you don't get it till after the fact. Nobody sees the wrong in that. Again, all should have been called out. Sorry again to be talking over what you're doing.
No. I want to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that makes no sense that you could say the defense was prepared, that how could Ann Taylor, well, maybe this is why. So she had to stand up in front of the judge, and the judge said, did you have adequate time to review all the evidence? And she says yes, because technically she reviewed what she had.
Yeah.
But then they
at
could
that
come
point,
back, then they could come back later and say, well, never mind, we have to change that because you never turned over
Right.
XYZ.
Exactly.
Crazy. So all of these things is what I am thinking are going to lead to due process. And isn't due process in our Constitution?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think this is what Kathy IndieZone has been talking about, and probably many other creators. Shout out to her because she brought this up to us last week.
Right.
Due process is a constitutional right. And the hearing that we're going to hear tomorrow, we're going to hear the argument, not the decision, just the argument, is about someone taking a plea, someone taking a plea deal. The judge says you can still file paperwork for an appeal. So that's like contradictory. And then the guy in question is being forced right now to take medication for mental health as part of his plea agreement. And I don't think he agreed to that. So part of his argument is like, you can't like you're violating these constitutional rights. So it's going to go back to the Constitution. And so if they rule in favor that plea agreements can be made to violate your rights, then there's maybe a possibility for Brian to have more access to appeals.
Yeah, right. The due process is the 14th Amendment, folks, and it's that you heard them speak about that a lot throughout this. So 14th Amendment violation, in turn, there we are, based on what they're doing with what Kim's saying. I'm sorry.
No. Oh my gosh. Here I am. I should have done I'm thinking I had a whole nother day to do the Hunter stuff. Well, I blew that.
Right.
That's happening tomorrow, but that's okay. And actually, I think that's going to be aired at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But I'll just, have it and come on with it when I do my live. But yeah, that case is going to have a major impact, I think, on possible appeals for not convicted for people that have taken plea deals like Brian Kohberger. So
it's going to be, and I don't, unfortunately, this is my opinion, I don't see that being, I can't think today. I don't see it being approved because do you realize the mess that will cause?
Yeah, I heard somebody talking about it. They were saying it would cause more actual trials. But that's what we know this already. Like I did a whole episode on this. The reason we have plea deals is because we don't have the number of lawyers in this country that it would take for every person to go to trial.
No.
And you know how we could stop this mess? If everybody went to trial. Quit taking plea deals and go to trial. You'll wait for 10 years before you go to court.
Right. And I will say, because I've said this myself, that I do not believe that, not with every trial or not with every case, but when you have a capital case, where you have a death penalty case, anything like, there should not be a plea deal with that, with a capital case like this. It should just never be allowed. Those cases should always have to go to trial. Okay. But when it comes to, like, things that are not considered a capital case, okay, that's a different story. But this, you should never have a plea deal in a case like this, in my opinion. You just shouldn't. It's insane to me, because it's that important for the public, in my opinion, not to mention both sides of the fence here, to have that trial, to be able to put all that information out in turn. So
Exactly. Yes, Tony Stevenson. And, the data supports that. It's not just that, like, Ann Taylor's so smart that she knew that, this wouldn't, like, she was on to Bill Thompson. And I don't think it's just Bill Thompson. I think you could insert pretty much any prosecutor into that. That's what they do. That's what they do. They go, like, 95% of the time, they just go to a plea deal. Just the way our country is set up, but
it's easier, it's cheaper, and when you have somebody like Bill Thompson, what he does, he doesn't want to have to work. And we all know he didn't have a case, folks. He proved that at the end of the sentencing hearing, or during the sentencing hearing, when he read back the PCA that he himself said was irrelevant.
Yep. That's the other part of it. The weak cases prosecutors with weak cases will go to a plea deal.
Yeah.
They'll overcharge the crime. And so that they can go to the table and say, hey, we'll take the death penalty off if you'll just say that you did this.
And I truly and honestly, I've said this before, I believe that the death penalty was put out for this in the beginning, because this was the whole point, the plan, in my opinion, from day one. When they dropped the death penalty on this, I believe they had planned to do this from the very beginning to the end.
So let's say there comes out that there is this Supreme Court ruling, which I think after they hear it tomorrow, they have a tight deadline of when they need to make a decision by. So I don't think it should be too long. So that will come out, and just because let's say Brian finds a way to go to an appeal, it doesn't mean he's gonna get out of prison. They might say, okay, go to trial. Like, you might get a trial out of this.
This could still take years, guys. Just understand that. It really could still. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it very likely could.
Tony, you're funny. You're funny. Hi, Lisa. Hello. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to end there. We are at, what are we at? How long have I been on here? Oh, yeah. Over my 2 hour. I try to go to 2 hours, but I always go a little bit over. So,
good.
I think those leaks lead to big problems, as well as some other things in this case. So we'll continue to talk about it. I'm gonna continue scouring through it. Like, I feel like my brain gets rattled, like what to focus on, because there's so much. I'm sorry, you guys, if it comes off that way.
Especially with the little stuff. I think we all go through that. There's so much little stuff. You try to compartmentalize it all together so that you can focus on it. When you do that, it causes scrambled brains, like I say all the time, so.
Scrambled brains.
Yes.
Scrambled brains. Yes. All right. I think we're about to clock out. We're gonna clock out, you guys, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, 11:30. Thanks for coming up here and talking to me about the Koberger stuff, because it's always so much.
Thank you for having me.
Me.
This was a great show. It truly was. So
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Kim, for having me, and I'm looking forward to the next time. And I'm gonna head off and go get myself rolling, because we're gonna be jumping into some of the same type of stuff, going in a little bit of a different direction. So thank you again.
All right, so we're gonna let Dago go. Bye, Dago. And he's setting up his live. We'll all go over there and watch that. And Have a great rest of your day. I appreciate all of you. Please take a moment to hit that thumbs up on your way out if you wouldn't mind. Subscribe if you haven't. I know there's a lot of people watching. I hope you are a subscriber. And hey, Kane, better late than never. Just about ending. Be kind to yourself. Do something fun today. And I will see you guys tomorrow, the same time. And I'm clocking out. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be unique, yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.